Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And this time, we are talking all about Thailand's bid to join the OECD.
Yeah, a move that's really raising some eyebrows and sparking a lot of questions. So for those who might need just a quick refresher on what exactly the OECD is, it's kind of like this exclusive club of mostly developed nations.
Right.
You know, think economic powerhouses, you think policy trendsetters, and they're all working together on all sorts of things, from trade and taxes all the way to education. And they're always striving for, better policies that lead to better lives for everybody. And for this deep dive, we have three key sources that are going to kind of lay out this whole story for us. First up, we've got a tweet, and it's straight from the top, from Mathias Cormann,
Oh, wow.
the OECD's Secretary General. And he actually flew to Thailand to personally kick off the accession process with the Thai Prime Minister. Talk about making a statement. And we also have the official press release from the Thai government about that meeting.
And then to round things out, we have a really insightful explanation from the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And they lay out why this is such a big deal for Thailand and what it all means. So are you ready to find out what's behind Thailand's ambition to join this global club?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's dive in.
It's easy to skim headlines and think, oh, another international organization, big deal. But
Right.
what's really fascinating here is the timing and the way this whole thing is unfolding. Having the OECD Secretary General actually come to Thailand to launch this process, it's not just symbolic. It's a clear signal that the OECD is seriously considering Thailand as a potential member.
Right. It's not every day you see that level of attention, for a country that's just starting this process. It really makes you wonder why now? What's driving Thailand's push to join the OECD at this moment in time?
Well, if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, Thailand's kind of at a crossroads right now.
Right.
They've been a regional economic leader for decades, but they're facing new challenges. There's rising competition from other Southeast Asian nations. There are concerns about slowing growth and even questions about their place in a world that is increasingly shaped by this U.S.-China rivalry.
Yeah.
Joining the OECD could be a way for Thailand to break through some of those barriers and signal that they are committed to a certain set of standards. Standards that can attract investment, boost their global reputation, and maybe even give them more leverage on the international stage.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like Thailand is strategically positioning itself for the future. And, the Thai government press release doesn't explicitly lay out all of those geopolitical calculations, but it does highlight their commitment to aligning with OECD standards. The Prime Minister even said this move will help boost the country's competitiveness and the quality of life of the people. So it's not just about abstract economic indicators. It's about what this could mean for everyday Thais.
Exactly. And that focus on the quality of life is really important. It suggests that the Thai government sees this as more than just an economic strategy. It's about a broader vision for the country's future.
But let's get practical for a second. What does the succession process actually involve? I mean, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs document goes into a lot of detail, but can you give us the lay of the land, so to speak?
Absolutely. Think of it like a three-stage obstacle course. Stage one is this initial expression of interest.
Okay.
Basically saying, hey, OECD, we're interested in joining your club. And Thailand has already cleared that hurdle.
Okay, so they've officially thrown their hat in the ring. What's next?
Stage two is where the real work begins, accession discussions and roadmap development.
Uh-huh.
Think of it as like a deep dive into Thailand's policies across the board. Economics, education, healthcare, the environment, you name it. Experts from the OECD are going to be combing through everything, assessing how well Thailand's policies align with those gold standard OECD benchmarks.
I bet that's where it gets really interesting and potentially challenging. Are we talking about tweaking existing policies, or is this about major overhauls?
It could be a mix of both, and that's where this roadmap comes in. This document that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs mentioned. It's like a customized plan for Thailand. It'll outline the specific targets they need to hit the conditions for membership and the timeline for achieving all of this. And it's not just about checking boxes. It's about demonstrating a genuine commitment to reform and progress.
And if they manage to jump through all those hoops, then what happens? They get their official OECD membership card.
That brings us to stage three, the formal invitation to join. That's the moment when Thailand would officially become a card-carrying member of the OECD. But here's the catch. This whole process from start to finish could take years. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very clear about that.
Years. Wow, that's a serious long game they're playing. But I guess that also underscores how significant this is for Thailand. They're not just dipping their toes in the water, they're diving headfirst into a major, potentially transformative process.
And that's what makes this so intriguing. We're not just talking about a bureaucratic procedure.
Yeah.
We're talking about a potential turning point for Thailand, a moment that could reshape its economy, its society, and maybe even its role in the world.
Yeah,
It's exciting stuff.
it is.
Yeah, it really does feel like Thailand is at this pivotal moment making a very conscious choice to step onto a bigger stage.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, we're not content with just being a regional player anymore. We want a seat at that global table. And that brings us to a really crucial point that's been woven throughout all of our sources. Even if it takes years for Thailand to officially join the OECD, the benefits can start showing up much sooner.
That's right. The process itself can be a catalyst for positive change. Think about it, just the act of aligning with those OECD standards. It sends a powerful signal to the world. It says Thailand is serious about good governance transparency and creating a level playing field for businesses. And that kind of reputation can be like a magnet for foreign investment and boost confidence in Thailand's economic future.
Yeah, it's like they're laying the groundwork for a more prosperous and sustainable future, brick by brick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those benefits extend far beyond just the economic sphere. Let's take education as an example. The OECD is practically synonymous with educational excellence.
Right.
They're constantly collecting data, sharing best practices, helping countries improve their education systems.
Right. They're always publishing those reports that rank countries' education systems, and everybody wants to be at the top of that list. I remember reading an OECD report a while back that highlighted the importance of fostering creativity and critical thinking skills in students. And it made me wonder, could Thailand's journey towards OECD membership actually lead to a shift in their education system? Maybe a move away from rote learning and towards a more dynamic, student-centered approach.
That's a really insightful observation, and it's definitely possible. As Thailand works to align with OECD standards, we could see a ripple effect across their education system. Imagine Thai schools embracing more interactive teaching methods, encouraging students to think outside the box, and equipping them with the skills they need to thrive in a rapidly changing global economy. That could have a profound impact on Thailand's future workforce and its ability to compete in the global marketplace.
And it's not just about Thailand, right? This kind of educational transformation could have a ripple effect across the entire Southeast Asian region. Other countries might see the positive changes happening in Thailand and think, hey, we need to step up our game too. It's like a rising tide that lifts all boats.
Precisely. And that ripple effect extends beyond education. Think about healthcare. The OECD has a wealth of knowledge about building effective and efficient healthcare systems. They can help countries improve access to quality healthcare for all citizens, regardless of their income or social status.
I remember reading about how some OECD countries have successfully implemented universal healthcare systems, ensuring that everybody has access to those essential medical services. Could Thailand's pursuit of OECD membership lead to similar advancements in their healthcare system? Could we see a future where all Thais have access to affordable, high-quality healthcare?
It's certainly a possibility, and the benefits don't stop there. The OECD is also a very strong advocate for environmental sustainability. They're pushing countries to transition to cleaner energy sources, reduce pollution, and protect biodiversity. As Thailand aligns with these standards, we could see a shift towards a more sustainable green economy, one that prioritizes the health of the planet alongside economic growth.
That's a really compelling point. Thailand has faced its share of environmental challenges in recent years, from air pollution in Bangkok to deforestation in rural areas. Embracing OECD standards could be a game changer, helping Thailand chart a more sustainable path for the future. And that, in turn, could inspire other Southeast Asian nations to follow suit, creating a regional wave of environmental progress. It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
Absolutely. But let's not forget, this is a long and complex process.
Yeah.
There will be challenges along the way, obstacles to overcome, and difficult choices to make.
Right? It's not all sunshine and roses. The Thai government press release, while optimistic, doesn't shy away from the fact that there will be hard work involved. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs document is very clear that this process could take years. But even if the road is bumpy, the destination is worth striving for.
I completely agree. And that's what makes this whole story so fascinating. It's not just about Thailand joining another international organization. It's about a nation setting ambitious goals, embracing change, and striving to create a better future for its people. And that's a story worth following every step of the way.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Thailand and this journey towards the OECD. We've talked about the potential benefits, the challenges, even the strategic motivations behind this really ambitious move. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something that we touched on earlier, and that's this idea of the ripple effect. If Thailand manages to pull this off, what kind of impact could it have on the rest of Southeast Asia?
It's a question that has analysts, policymakers across the entire region watching very closely. Thailand has always been kind of a trendsetter in Southeast Asia.
Right.
And if they successfully navigate this whole OECD accession process, it really could have this domino effect.
Okay, so I'm picturing dominoes falling across a map of Southeast Asia, but seriously, what kind of domino effect are we actually talking about here?
Imagine a scenario where other Southeast Asian nations see Thailand reaping all the benefits of this OECD membership, and they start thinking, hey, we want a piece of that action too. Suddenly you have this whole region striving to meet those high OECD standards on everything from trade and investment to environmental protection and human rights.
So it's not just about economic competition, it's about raising the bar for the entire region.
Exactly. It could create sort of this virtuous cycle where countries are actually pushing each other to be better, to reform, to innovate. And that could transform Southeast Asia into an even more attractive destination for investment, talent, and innovation.
Now, I know that we've been focusing mostly on the positives, but are there any potential downsides to this ripple effect? Could it create any new tensions or inequalities within the region?
That's a really, really important question because if some countries are quicker to adapt and reform than others, it could create a divide between those who are reaping the benefits of OECD alignment and those who are kind of struggling to keep up. It'll be crucial for those regional organizations like ASEAN to play a role in fostering cooperation and making sure that everyone benefits from this potential transformation.
So a lot really depends on how this all plays out. It's not just about Thailand's individual journey. It's about the potential for this huge regional shift.
And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating to watch. We're talking about a story with multiple layers, with implications that go way beyond Thailand's borders.
It's a good reminder that even seemingly technical or bureaucratic processes can have these huge real-world consequences.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, this is an invitation to stay engaged and to keep an eye on how this story unfolds. Do your own research. Follow the developments and see how Thailand's journey towards the OECD might shape the future of Southeast Asia and maybe even the world.
Yeah, it's a story that's really just beginning, and we're all along for the ride. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Thailand's bid to join the OECD. We hope you found this exploration insightful and engaging. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into this fascinating world around us.